What is going on, guys? Joey Franzo here with Flex Training Systems. Today is Monday, April 29th, and we're going to talk a little bit about volume and frequency. And then at the end, I'm going to give you guys a really quick, non spoiler review of Endgame. I'm supposed to be recording a spoiler review today with Russ, Sean, John, Hack, and myself. Yeah, I know you guys have been asking for that, so we're gonna do that. That'll be cool to have everybody together. But yeah, let's get into the keys, right? Because that's what everybody wants. So I thought I'd do this video on high and low volume, high volume, low volume, frequency, high frequency, low frequency, because there's a lot of like misconception that I run into all the time. It's like a reoccurring thing that in my last, at least 5 years of doing this, when people really started asking me what, about training and stuff, like it comes up all the time. 6 years actually. Holy shit. It comes up all the time, how much should you be doing, this and that. So I thought I might go over some of the benefits or some of the pros and cons of each one, just to kind of give people the mindset of what I'm like. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just being open to doing what you need to do, not what seems like you need to do, if that makes sense. So let's get into it. High volume and high frequency, right? Some pros. You're gonna get more practice with the lift. Obviously, you're doing it more, so clearly you're gonna get more work with that lift, and you're gonna be more technically proficient. You may need to have some accessory movements that are going to help you find your technique so that you're not building bad habits. But aside from that, the comp lift is going to be good for most people. Assuming that they're building up their musculature all around, it's going to make them better at that specific comp lift. Some of the cons to this, doing things more frequently, right? Training more frequently, you need more time to do it, right? You need to have a higher time investment, more time commitment, to be able to hit, all your volume and frequency. If you're someone that has to bench 5 times a week, squat 3 times a week, deadlift 2, 3 times a week, that's a lot of time that you're going to be in the gym, right? Tons of time spent on those lifts. So it may not be feasible, and this is what I think a lot of people don't understand. If you work 40, 50 hours a week and you got to sleep, obviously, and you have, other commitments at home, and maybe you take care of a loved one, maybe you have kids, whatever, but you need that high volume, high frequency to progress, then you may be able to make some progress, but you're not going to be able to obviously reach your potential if you have those other things going on. And I think a lot of people don't understand that, if you're a smaller, weaker lifter, you're probably going to have to do more. It's not all gloom and doom, though, because there are ways to kind of desensitize yourself from all that work, and desensitize yourself from that work and start to progress on lower amounts of work. But your intensity may need to be a little bit higher in order to kind of get things moving. There are ways around it, but you got to kind of see what your training will allow. I would say a very small percentage of people are not going to have the life that allows them to make progress. Maybe more than I'm thinking of right now. Like if you go to school full time and you work full time, it's going to be tough. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it can't be done. I have guys that do it. It's just, be reasonable with your expectations. It's kind of like it reminds me of when people ask me how much progress can I make in X amount of time, and it's just like, it's so hard to predict that. There's so many other factors that go into it, and even if you did nothing but train, we can expect progress. We just don't know how much. Some people look at weights and they make gains. Some people need to do everything perfect to make a little bit of progress. You know what I mean? So, yeah, high volume, high frequency. Also, you have higher chances, potentially higher chances for injury. You're doing the lift more frequently. Although I will say, relative to the person doing that needs high volume and frequency, they're usually more durable because they're lifting relatively smaller weights. You know, if you're squatting 300 pounds for sets of 8 versus like 600 pounds for sets of 8, you know, the human body can probably tolerate the lighter weight infinitely more, you know, than the heavier weight. Obviously, it's two different kinds of people. It's going to be a big guy doing that kind of weight. Um, you know, closer to 200 pounds ish. Even, let's say Russell, let's say even if he's doing it, he's going to be around 190. You know, I would imagine lifting that kind of weight being, you know, 130 pounds. Let's say there was a person out there that could do this, is going to beat them up pretty bad. Um, but then again, you know, when you're shorter and smaller, you have the way your joints are set up. It can kind of facilitate for heavier lifting. I don't know. It's interesting. But if you are someone that is super busy, like I had mentioned, and you know you have to train super frequent, and you're not paying attention to your nutrition and recovery and your water and things like that, then yeah, your injury is going to come quick. Our injury is going to happen here and there. You're going to strain little things. You know, you're just going to hit a bunch of like consecutive little tiny speed bumps, and it's just gonna slow you down from getting where you need to go. Also, the commitment or the attention to detail when it comes to nutrition when you train higher volume, higher frequency has to be on point because, like I said, you don't have like a week between big lifts. You know, you don't have all this time to recover. It's like you have to take care of yourself and be ready. It's like a proactive thing. You have to be ready for the next session, if that makes sense. When you train with lower volume and lower frequency, um, you know, you could kind of get away with it because, like, let's say you're not on point with your protein, but you have like 5 days before you hit that lift again. You're probably gonna get enough in within those days to recover at least decently from what you did. So it's like more forgiving, if that makes sense. Training on lower volume and frequency. So since I'm on it, I'm just gonna jump over to low frequency, low volume. Um, oh well, before we do that, it's hard. It's harder to hold on to gains when you're a lifter that has adapted to high volume, high frequency. Meaning, if you do not maintain that volume and that frequency, you're going to lose your sharpness. You're going to lose your strength faster than a bigger dude or someone that doesn't need to train as much because their body is already adjusted to training super frequently, if that makes sense. So if you skip a day, if I skip a week, I'm missing one low bar session, right? And not even a deadlift session, like half a deadlift session because I don't even deadlift every week, right? If a small lifter that can train that frequently, it doesn't even have to be small. If a lifter that trains, you know, multiple times per week misses 1 week, they're missing 3 squat sessions. They're missing, three, 2 to 3 deadlift sessions. It's a different timeline for people that train with higher volume and higher frequency, and it is more punishing. It is more punishing the farther they are, or the more distance they have between their sessions, right? It's like more upkeep basically to maintain the progress that you've made versus someone like me, who if I miss a squat day, it's like it's not a big deal. I can move it around. It's not really gonna do anything. Da 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 da. So going into lower volume, lower frequency, it's easier to hold on to gains. So the opposite of what I just said for high volume, high frequency. Much easier to hold on to gains. If I miss a bench, if I miss a squat day, it's not a big deal. I don't do it that frequently anyway. So it's like I'm used to having a ton of time between sessions. I'm usually gonna lift pretty close to my max, within 50 pounds of my max. Depending on the lift, if I'm hitting a big single, because I'm pretty much always gonna be closer to my top end because I'm usually holding less fatigue. It's not always the case. The principle of how much training and frequency, like volume and frequency, you need, it applies to everyone. It's just the dosing and the timeline for each person is going to be different, right? So, like I said, I can have more distance between lifts to maintain my progress. If I take a week off or if I go on vacation, it's not really going to do anything. And oftentimes, you come back faster. You're stronger, sorry. I keep using myself as a reference because this is me. This is the type of person that I am, like lifter that I am. Although my bench behaves a little bit more like a high volume, high frequency person. Although, I mean, I can bench infrequently and maintain my strength, just not that long, like maybe 2, 3 weeks, and then I start just going downhill. Um, but yeah, also, if you train with lower volume frequency, you're always gonna feel fresh. Um, pretty much every time you come in, nothing's gonna hurt. You're always gonna feel good, you know, and you can pretty much display a good amount of strength every time you're in the gym. This is not always this is not always a good thing. You wanna if I could be doing more. I mean, I'll leave my session feeling destroyed, and then by the time I come in the next week to hit a low bar again, I'm feeling great. You know what I mean? Um, so I can give a little bit more each session, even if it's only 3 sets of 5. You know what I mean? That's something difficult for me. That's what I'm saying. Everyone's different. Everybody should be looking for that RPE that we know is gonna lead to gains, if that makes sense, right? If you're reaching the end of your workout and you've noticed you've had to lower the weight a good amount, and you're hitting your RPE 8s, RPE 7s, whatever, and but your weights are way down from when you started the workout, you're good to go. You don't need to keep digging yourself into a hole. If you can recover from the session, then you're just spinning your wheels, if that makes sense. Also, if you're training with low volume and frequency, you may need more specificity, meaning you don't have enough budget to include as many extra accessories. Although, I mean, you can do accessories after your comp lifts, but like let's say if you only have 2 squat sessions per week, they might need to both be low bar. You know what I mean? That's just one example. If you're benching infrequently, I definitely think you're gonna need to stick to the pause bench and do your accessories after, just because if you're not doing it as much, you need to be sharp. You're gonna have to get that practice somewhere. Although it is very easy to just add singles anywhere during a week just to get some work in. That's not really too big a deal, but yeah, less time commitment, obviously. So less time commitment and more forgiving when it comes to training and nutrition. I mean, everybody should take care of their training and nutrition because you want to get the most out of your progress, but you don't need as much time to commit to training. I train very minimally, me personally, and some of my big guys. We could do other things. We have other time to work or do whatever. I'm also very sedentary, so it like kind of works out. I just recover very well from everything. Um, so everybody thinks about high volume, high frequency, and they think this is going to lead to more gains, right? It's not a definitive yes, but it's not a definitive no. It's a maybe. It's like you might. It depends. But you always want to start with doing less, ride that out, make as much gains as you can, and then eventually you might get to a. I find the opposite. I find that eventually, if you're doing quality work, and you're getting stronger, truly getting stronger. If you're going from someone that's squatting like low fours to high fives, or low fives to low fours, like 400, 500 range, and then you're getting up there, let's say over years, you get super strong. Now you're hitting 600, 700 pounds, whatever. You're probably going to need less to recover from those big weights, right? Everyone's going to be different, but, using myself and some of my younger lifters as an example, usually they may need in the beginning, because they're so new, a ton of work to get themselves stronger. And then once they start getting stronger, they're gaining more from each session. It's just more potent, if that makes sense. Their technique is much better. They're able to achieve, productive level of fatigue with less sets than what they had to before, if that makes sense. Than what they had to do before. So it's not always more is better. I cannot tell you the number of people that come to me that go, "Oh, I was doing more before," and then we just shit all over that. Having them progress on way less than what they're doing, and they feel better, and they're not beat up all the time, etc., etc. But yeah, fellas, that was the key portion of the video. If you're gonna dip out now because you hate all things fun in life, go ahead and drop a like. and, and go ahead and dip out. You know what I'm saying? We're about to get in this Endgame non-spoiler little review real quick. And then we're gonna do a full spoiler. I'm about to lose my shit. I'm gonna throw my fourth monitor in my room out of my fucking house onto the street and blow it up because of what happened in this movie. That's happening tonight. I don't know when Sean's gonna post it. I'll let you guys know when he does. Non-spoiler and game review. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you saw I gave it. It was around an 8.5. Then I thought more about it and I lowered it down to like a 7, 7.5. The selfish part of me wanted things to happen that did not happen, and because I didn't get that, granted, I'm not the only one that felt this way. I've watched infinite reviews on it now, and tons of those people said the same things that I was thinking. Um, they're kind of around my age, and they kind of grew up with maybe similar experiences to pop culture than I did, so it kind of makes sense that they would think that. But I really wanted certain characters to have their moment. They didn't get that, so I was kind of sad by that. There are also some inconsistencies that I would notice. I don't know if the regular viewer would notice. But just comparing this movie to Infinity War, I thought Infinity War was like, I mean, Infinity War was my movie. I mean, obviously Thanos just having his day, that was nothing is gonna really beat that. Um, I'm just thankful that this Endgame movie even happened. That I got to see. There were some character arcs that I was very happy with, but it's hard when you're dealing with so many characters and you have to put them all you have to end them in certain ways, or just do certain things with them to kind of close the story out. The last 22 movies or whatever, and it was just, I don't know, it's risky. So part of me wants to give it a 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. You know, Granted, the Marvel movies are on a whole nother scale, but then the other part of me that wanted certain things that didn't get them, and then didn't understand why they took some choices, really kind of killed it for me, and I give it a lower score. So, I mean, overall, I felt many involuntary emotions that make these movies awesome. Anytime a movie can make you feel something, it's got to be valuable, right? So I was very thankful for that, but it definitely didn't fuck me up as bad as Infinity War did. Uh, Infinity War, I was just, they just took my emotions and smashed them and threw them out the window. So what is it up with me and throwing shit out the window? Throw it off a plane. How about that? But yeah, it was. Uh, I thought about the movie the next day. I couldn't think about anything else when I woke up, aside from all the shit that I had to do that day. But so I mean, it definitely sticks with you, and it's been a couple days, and I'm still thinking about it. So if you haven't seen it already, you're probably not going to see it at this point. I know that some of you guys are in other countries and you don't get it for a couple more days. I feel so bad for you. Please do not look at any comments. Don't even go on YouTube, because one part was kind of spoiled for me. I mean, I kind of saw it coming, but I saw it and I was pissed when I saw it. So yeah, go see that. If you made it this far, let me get a hashtag. Hashtag. Let me just do a stay in the pocket. Let's get a stay in the pocket in the comments below. Um, I booked my stuff for IPF World, so that's gonna be a long flight. That should be interesting. And then we got a big state meet.